Hello everyone, welcome. This is MDA1018 Content Creator Labs, and you must be in the right spot because you found the link to where we are for our first lecture of semester 2 for 2025. It is lovely to have you here and lovely to have you as a part of it. I'm Peter Mercado. I am going to be doing the lectures for the next 4 weeks. Some of you may know me from things like orientation. Hello to you if you're joining us for your first semester here at Swinburne. And having been to the orientation last week, you're settling into your classes and everything like that. For everyone else, welcome back. It's lovely to have you back here and making sure that you're settling into semester 2 and you've got your timetable sorted and everything like that. So we'll talk a bit about how this is going to be set up across the next 4 weeks of live lectures. So at this time, I'll be appearing here, maybe in this location, which is my office, as you can see behind me. But also I might be doing it from home or a range of different locations. I haven't decided yet where we're actually going to be. The purpose of doing a live online lecture, I mean, well, look, to be honest, my preference is to be in a lecture theatre, but it's not how the unit is accredited. So this is kind of the next best thing where I just talk into a camera for an hour. This allows us to do is obviously stream and have a replay available straight away. So we are recording this as we're going along, and the notes from each session will be available at the end of the session, but also the chance for you to ask questions in real time. So you'll notice in your screens or on your screen, the chat box that is set up. You'll have the ability to ask questions along the way. And I put in there just for people to say hello. Hello, Lulu. Hello, Sean. Hello, Austin. Hello, Noah. Hello, Taylor. Just to show that I am actually doing things in real time here and watching it as it's going by. So feel free to say hi to everyone if you're joining us and just tuning in right now. But hopefully this will give you plenty of context, I guess, as to what we're going to be doing across the next 12 weeks. It's going to be very hands-on. This is not going to be a whole bunch of theory at you, but a whole bunch of guidelines and things to keep in mind as you're navigating your way through the audio, the photography, and the video side of things. And this all ties into assessment. So there are assessments that you're going to need to do. I'll talk more about them as we go along as well. And I'm looking after the audio side of the unit for this semester. So there's plenty to do. It's going to be quite a hectic semester. You are going to need to be organised. You really start planning your time around the 3 assessments, the main assessments that we've got, and also the quizzes that you're going to be doing as well. So maybe as you're watching the video, cruise around, have a look at the Canvas site, because there's plenty on there, plenty going on. Hello, Bailey. I'm doing this in real time as well. To sort of look at what we're going to be doing. There's a whole lot of resources on there. It may seem overwhelming, but once you get into it and the sense of the flow of how things work, you should have no trouble getting yourself organised and getting there. But if you are having trouble, please come and talk to us. We need that open communication. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So hopefully I can switch my screen. There I am, right there, but let's just put the display up for now. And let me run through a few things to get us started for this semester. So, this is me. I'm the audio lecturer. That's my email address. You'll meet your tutor this week in class, and I'll talk a little bit about tutorials and how they're working and everything like that. We have a very full unit, which is fantastic for us this semester, and really looking forward to seeing all of you around the place. And in particular, if you haven't been to campus yet, our brand new facility on level 4 of the AS building, which is great. If you do get the chance, even just before classes or in between classes, go up and have a look. Just have a wander around, because it's all student space now, and there's plenty to see and do. AS405 is as it was. There's a few cosmetic changes, but nothing too dramatic. So you'll find the classroom up there, but have a wander around, because there's so much to see and do now, and there's plenty of spaces to hang out, plenty of spaces to go and get work done. You can set yourself up, work on assignments, do whatever you need to do. Come up to AS level 4 and check it out, because it is really, really good, if I do say so myself. So what are we doing? We're setting up the unit. What are we going to be doing? The expectations, we'll have a little bit of tech talk, because I know that causes a little bit of anxiety for people in terms of what technical equipment do I need? What's the best way to go about it? The spoiler alert, you won't need too much from your own sort of stash of equipment. We'll talk about the idea of storytelling, because a lot of what we're doing in this unit is based around this concept of storytelling. It's the thing that kind of hangs everything together across the 12 weeks. And then we'll look at the first assignment and what you need to do, because we'll need to get going on that reasonably quickly. And as I say, if you're just jumping in and joining me right now for the first time, welcome. Lovely to have you here. The chat box is an opportunity for you to ask questions in real time as the lecture's going on. So if there's something that's on your mind, log in. I'm assuming we're all over 16. We're not going to be hit by the YouTube ban. And ask your question as you go along. People are saying hello, so feel free to jump in and say hello as well. But if there is any burning questions that you have right here, right now, I can answer them as I'm going along. And I'll put out a final call as we get closer to the end of the lecture, just so you can ask those questions. It's better to get an answer in real time while I'm here than have to send an email or wait around for a tutorial. And you'll do that you'll have the opportunity in all of your live lectures this semester. Now, this is something that I talk a little bit about at orientation. I'm sure some of your other lecturers and tutors have talked about this as well, but it's a timely reminder as we get into second semester. I hope you had a little bit of downtime from your classes and from being here at Swinburne, and you're ready to get back into it. But this idea of the secret to success at university and what's required. Really, there's nothing that you don't already know, but it's just a chance for me to give you a timely reminder of what you could do and how you should go about things. We'll give you some tips anyway to talk about how to go about it, and in particular this unit, because it does require you to be organised. And it's one of those things that the more organised you are, the easier this unit becomes. The good part about it is that this is very much a situation, and your uni experience is where you have the power in your hands. And particularly if you're new, joining us for the first time here at Swinburne or first time at university, welcome, obviously. But the power is in your hands. It's up to you to decide what you want to make of your experience. Are you going to be here attending every single class and making the most of the opportunities? Are you going to make the most of the new facilities that we've got here in the AS building, for example, or the equipment that we've got? There's so much great equipment that we've got that you're going to be learning how to use in this semester, but also across your time here at Swinburne. Or are you going to not maybe make the most of your experience here and just sort of turn up to the odd class and really struggle? And you know that the situation that happens where you go to one tutorial and then you miss the next one and you think, oh, I feel bad for that. And then you miss the next one and think, oh, this is getting a little easier. And before you know it, you miss 4 or 5 and you missed out on some crucial information. The important thing is to be organised and keep the communication channels open. I'll talk about that in a sec. It's also okay to have no idea what you're going to do at the end of the course. You know, you're building your life skills along the way here. You're finding out what you like, what you don't like. Some of you are going to be doing majors in media and communication that are based around writing, that are based around cinema and screen, that you think maybe don't have as much of an intersection with the skills that you're going to be learning in this unit. But it is important that you get that well-rounded experience. You actually have a working understanding of how this equipment works and able to use it in a really basic sort of fashion. But you're building your life skills as well as skills in the area that you're studying. So don't feel that you have to sit there, as I've mentioned in the open day a week or so ago, and you have to make a decision about what you're going to do for the rest of your life right now. You don't have to do that straight away, which is a wonderful thing to be able to have, to take your time. Use this time here at Swinburne to be able to sort of find your path, find out what you like, find out what you don't like, have a good time, making sure, of course, that you complete all your assignments and turn up to classes. But, of course, have a good time because, you know, you're young. And this is a great time to be able to do it. Obviously, we are aware that you've got work and other things going on as well. But you don't have to have that final destination sorted straight away. So, how will you do well? Well, you turn up and get involved. You come to class. Because the other thing about it is, you know, we get lots of emails throughout the semester from students across a lot of units that we're teaching in. And we generally find that most questions can be answered very quickly in the tutorial. If you want to actually get your question answered in real time, come to the tutorial because you'll be able to get that answer really quickly. But, getting social, meeting the people in the tutorial because you're going to need them because there's going to be some group work later on, just letting you know. And I know I can hear the collective groans from computers right now, but it is going to happen. It is a skill that you need to learn. It's later on in the semester. Submit assignments on time, best standard that you can. Obviously, we have a short amount of time here and a lot going on, but really devote some time to making sure you get assignments in. The communication piece is really important, that you communicate with lecturers and tutors and the unit convener as well, who's Denby Weller, who you meet a bit later on. But you really have that communication channel open. Things will happen. Things will go wrong. There'll be problems come up. There'll be life things that are going on. It's really important that you keep communicating with us and let us know what's going on so we can actually help you get through. Across your course, you're going to have a lot of, well, not a lot, but you'll have some interaction with guest speakers and industry people who'll be coming in. That's part of what the advantage of being at Swinburne is, the chance to come in and actually, hear from these people and be put in front of these people. Take the opportunities that are offered. When they give you their details and say, yes, you can get in contact with him, make the effort to get in contact. It's a really important skill to be able to build that networking, and that's part of what you're doing here. You're networking with each other, but you're also networking with people from industry, and we'll try and put them in front of you. Maybe not so much in this unit, but although the people that will be teaching you in terms of lecturers and tutors are from industry, which is really great because they know what's going on. Show initiative and come up with your own concepts. We want you in this unit in particular to explore your creativity, and some of you will sit there and be quite demoralized by that because you don't think you've got any creativity, but we're going to explore that a little bit in terms of how you tell stories. You see this as a professional opportunity. It's a chance to enhance your skills. It's professional development, as we call it. It's one of those, buzzwords that you hear around workplaces, but it's a chance to upskill. Okay, and build on the skills that you've got. Also, it's okay to make mistakes along the way. If we were looking for perfection, if you're producing perfection for all the assignments, I'd be questioning why you are here, because you should be out there doing it. It is okay to make mistakes. It's how you learn. It's all part of that learning process. And you balance uni with the other things going on in your life. So we know that there is a lot going on. I mean, cost of living, really? There is so much happening. But you balance it. So yes, we don't want you here 5 days a week. You can if you like, and certainly now we've got the facility so you can come in and work 5 days a week, but we know that you've got other things going on. But the balance is the main thing. You've got to devote some time to your uni work around your other work, around your social, around everything else. So please keep on top of it, but keep it in balance. These are all kind of things that you know along the way. So, what can you expect from your lecturers and tutors? Well, you can expect a few things from us. We're here to help you get to where you want to get to. I mean, that's kind of the main thing that we're sort of talking about here. We want to do that. We want to make sure that if you've got a path and you've got a clearly defined path of what you want to do and where you want to go and all of that sort of stuff, that we can get you on that road to doing that. And certainly we've had plenty of students who've come through and they have that sort of light bulb moment of, oh, yes, that audio was great, which I know you're going to say by the end of the 4 weeks, and I really want to do it more. We want to help you get there and do that, and we've got the contacts and the opportunities and things like that in your second year and third year to be able to do that, or photography or video, whatever it is that you're doing. We're here to help you do that. That's part of our job here. We're also excited about the areas that we're teaching in. Now, we're often doing research or we're working in that area. I've been in media for almost 30 years. I started when I was 3. I hope everyone's laughing out there. But I've been doing it a long time, as have the people who will be teaching you have been doing it a long time as well. So we've got that experience. And we are excited about these areas. I'm particularly passionate about audio. We have our own on-campus radio station when it's up and running called Swin Radio. We're going to be broadcasting live on Wednesday, so feel free to come down and say hello. We'll be outside the George building, the GS building, on Wednesday from about 11 o'clock. So come down and say hi if you're watching this in real time or watching it before Wednesday. But we're excited about that. We want to give you opportunities to be able to make stuff and to be able to help you along the way there. We'll also give you constructive feedback on your work to help you get better. Like, we want to help you improve. We'll have a little discussion about how we mark assignments in a few weeks' time. But we want you to mainly look at the feedback that you're getting rather than the number itself. We can get really hung up about that number that you get, but look at the feedback. How can you improve? What can you do better? And we'll be fair on that in terms of how we mark you as well. We want to give you an indication. If we're going for HDs, we're looking at more of that kind of, closer to being ready to be published straight away kind of thing. That's kind of where we're coming from with this. We also get that you have lives and things happening outside the university. Now, I talk about that balance thing a bit from before, but yeah, it's keeping a balance between it. We get that you have lives and we want you to do that. But when the whips are cracking and we're here and we say you need to turn up, please make sure you're in a position to turn up to class. And we also get that you're new to this as well. And, you've come through orientation, whether it's the start of the year, whether it's last week. We know that you're new to it, and we know that, you're not necessarily going to be across everything all the time. We understand that. So as you find your feet, we're happy to help you with that too. And we'll try and communicate concepts and ideas as clearly as we possibly can. I mean, some things you might find more difficult than others. That's okay. We're going to keep working with you to produce that content and work with you to understand the basics as clearly as we can. Plus, on the Canvas site, we've got a whole bunch of resources, extra resources that you can look at and you can work with to get an understanding of how it all comes together. So, let's keep going with our next thing. Here's what we won't do. I like this one. We are not contactable 24/7. This whole thing of, right to disconnect laws, we kind of take that pretty seriously. Amazingly, we have lives. It may not seem like it, but amazingly, we have lives as well. But we're not contactable all the time. So if you email us at 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning, we're probably not going to be responding until Monday at the earliest. Also taking into account that your tutors and even the lecturing team, we all have a million things that we're doing as well. It's kind of, we're not just focused on this unit. We'd love to, and we will be when we're in the tutorials and the lectures and getting our content together. But there might be times where we're getting lots of emails coming from everywhere and lots of things that we're doing at the one time. So we'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible, but know that it's probably going to be during business hours rather than after hours. And that's why we say, come to the tutorials, because you can get an answer in real time to your questions or to these live online lectures. And I'm sure you'll have some questions coming up. We're not going to chase you for assignments or class attendance. It is on you to do that. But the students that succeed, the students that do well, the students that get through are the ones that do turn up to class and do participate and actually embrace the sort of things that we're showing you here. We're also not going to be walked over. I mean, yes, you're paying to be here through varying ways, but there are limits to that. So, in terms of fairness and respect and everything like that, I draw your attention to the student charter for all of this. But yeah, coming in and demanding things is probably not the best way to go about it. We're also not going to go in depth in the lectures or about the lectures in the tutorials. So don't expect to get a full rundown of what was covered. It's expected that you'll watch these, or even, if you're traveling around and you want a reinforcement after watching today, just listen to it as we're cruising along, because obviously I've put the slides up. I will have some more bits and pieces and examples and stuff in coming lectures too, so it won't just all be slides. But yeah, we won't be going through the lecture in forensic detail in the tutorial, simply because there is no time to do that. We can't be mind readers and know what's going on in your lives, so when you don't attend and don't tell us why, we can't mind read the fact that, yes, we know you're not there, but we don't know the reason why. And sometimes it might be getting in touch with us. We'll be able to help you and support you with whatever it is that might be going on. And we won't also push the jobs line over and over and over. I know it's kind of that pressure thing, and I say you haven't found your path and all that sort of stuff. We won't push that too much across. Yes, we'll talk about industry, and yes, we'll relate it to all of that sort of stuff, but we're not going to hammer you all the time and say, you must find work in this, you must find work in that. No. Hopefully it sparks something in you. Some of you may already know that you want to be involved in these areas. Some of you may have absolutely no interest in them. That's fine. But for the rest, it might be that opportunity to find, hey, this is something that I might be interested in here. But we're not going to push the job line over and over and over. So, watching the lectures, which explains kind of the theory, but theory has such an academic sort of, I know it's a university, and we talk about that academic side of things, but talking about it, that makes it sound like, you're going to read 13 books and you're going to have to, all these different things. No, I'm going to give you the why things are done a particular way, and the what, maybe not so much on the how, because that's what you're going to do in the tutorials. So it's kind of explaining the theory behind the practical so we can set you up. I'll talk a bit about the assignments coming up as well, or the main assignment for me for audio. I'll talk about that. It might be boring. You're probably rolling your eyes now. You're probably actually doing a lot of other things. You might be, doing some online shopping or checking your socials. But it does give you that foundation. It is the foundation for the quizzes that you're going to be doing as well. Now, if you're struggling with the unit or the course in general, please let us know, because there's plenty of support services that can assist you, and I'll talk more about them in coming weeks too. But remember the orientation handbook that you got at the start of the year or last week? A lot of contact information is there to be able to help you. Now, this is a professional environment that we're working in here, and I guess, that what we mean by that is treating it not like a workplace, but close enough. We're going to show you a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to expect that you're going to be able to execute and do those sort of things and learn as you go along. Mutual respect, open lines of communication, I've talked about that, and engage with the content. So ask questions, get involved in discussions, talking with one another to help each other out, because often you'll be able to answer your own questions. We'll have discussion boards set up. We'll have all sorts of things going on. But we want you to get involved, because the more you're involved, the better off your situation is. So that's how this kind of the overarching thing of how this works. And then when we think about kind of what we're doing here, the basic idea of it is Content Creator Lab, basic technical skills in audio, video, and photography through non-fiction storytelling. Okay, so they're the three main areas. Okay, audio, video, photography. You're going to be learning the basics. Non-fiction storytelling is how we're going to do it. Okay, so this is kind of the thing okay, we'll show you these skills, but we're going to give you tasks. It's based around non-fiction storytelling. It's one of the 4 foundation units, as you no doubt are aware, for media and communication students. And the reason why we have these foundation units is to make sure everyone's on the same page, that you understand how these things work. Not all high schools had media programs. Not all students who come in have come straight out of high school. Hello to all of our international students who are joining us as well. We want to provide a context so then you can move on with the rest of the course. Lectures I've talked about. Tutorials, you're going to be doing stuff. You're not going to be sitting around for long. You're going to be grabbing equipment. You're going to be working with that equipment. You're going to be learning how it works. You're going to be learning how the software works. It's another thing I'll talk about in a sec. It moves pretty fast, but every lecture, you're going to be doing something. Do not feel that you're going to be sitting around, waiting for something to happen or someone to talk at you. You're going to have equipment in your hands. You're going to be working with each other. You're going to be working solo. You're going to be learning how all this comes together and build your assignments as you go along. So the first 4 weeks are audio. Then week 5, 6, and 7 is photography. And we've got the semester break in week number 6. And then 8 to 12. So we have 5 weeks of video. And that's important because it's a longer assignment. It's a bit more detailed. It's designed to build on the audio and photography side of things, which is great. So you'll have the opportunity to sort of build your skills as you go along. But we'll start off with audio first. Seems like the nice place to kind of start. This is the one that, everyone's watching. 4 quizzes throughout the semester. So here's how all of this will work. As I take a drink of water. 4 quizzes. Now, there is an intro quiz that's open right now on Canvas, where you can go and log in right now. It's How to Be a Rockstar Student, I think it's called. Wasn't my title, but hey, I can work with that. The intro quiz is just the basics. It's you looking around the Canvas site and going, right, I get everything here. It's a short little quiz on that, just to help you get started on all of this. We then have the audio quiz, which will be coming up in a couple of weeks' time. The photography quiz, there we go, back on screen. Photography quiz, that again in tutorial time, and the video quiz. So what they're going to be based around, to give you a little tip, is based around the lecture content. So that's why watching these and maybe taking a few notes will make your life easier, and you'll be able to ace every single quiz if you go through and do that. So the 4 quizzes, they'll happen, that's worth 20%. Then there's audio and photography assignments. They're going to be individual and separate. You're not doing them together. I mean, they're not at the same time. So you do the audio one first, then we'll get to the photography one. The big one's underneath that, the video assignment. That is a group assignment, so groups of 2, so working in pairs, and it's worth 40%. You've got 5 weeks to put together your production, but the reason I'm talking about it now is just to make sure that when you get into your tutorials, if you haven't met anyone in the course yet, now's the time to do it. The person that you might be sitting next to, they could be a really good pairing. You could pair up quite nicely and work together on the assignment. So what I want you to do is start thinking about that right now when you get into your tutorials to see, okay, I could work with this person. And then once we get to that stage and you're working with your tutor, you're already ready to go, because it does take a little bit of time. We're pretty good at matchmaking in our tutorial group and across the unit. I'm very good at matchmaking, I'll tell you that. I'm not so good at marriage counselling, so fixing things when things go wrong. It will happen for some groups, and that's, standard sort of stuff. We'll help you out as best we can. But the matchmaking bit, really good at that. Now, some of you may already have done Introduction to Media. I should give it its official title. And in that unit, you may have set up your portfolio. So all media and communication students should have a portfolio that you add to as the semesters go along, as the years go by. It's a showcase of you. It's a showcase of your skills, what you can do, what you can bring to the table here for potential employers to have a look at, and also just to show off your skills. You may also decide that you want to do something that's quite entrepreneurial. So you come up with your own $1 million concept, of which I would like a cut of, just saying, and all of that, and you're wanting to sell the product it is that you've put together. This is the way to do it. Now, what we're asking you to do is to set up your portfolio. However, if you've done Introduction to Media and you've already set up a portfolio as a part of that unit, or you're doing it this semester, like you're doing these 2 together, you only set up one portfolio. One portfolio. You don't need to set up multiples. We don't need multiples for multiple units. You just do one. So if you've already done one, great. You don't need to set it up. You'll just add your assignment content to it. If you haven't done it yet, there are resources on Canvas. There is a whole section which is kind of like a self-help videos where you click on them and that'll take you in. It'll give you all the things that you need to do. In fact, Denby's done a really good video or series of videos based around how to set it up. There's a couple of placeholders that are there as well that you can draw in, drag in, and just sort of set it up and then replace them once you start putting your own work in. It's not expected to be the finished product. You're going to build on that and finish all of it once you get to the end of your time here at Swinburne. And remembering, of course, you can include stuff that you do from outside the university as well, because it'll be your space to do it. So don't feel that you have to have it all finished. We just want you to set it up. Maybe an introduction about yourself or a picture or whatever, a contact page to contact you via email, and then setting up the spaces for where these assignments are going to go in. Again, if you've already set it up and you've got your intro to media stuff up there, then you can just add another tab to the Adobe portfolio. We use Adobe portfolio. Some of you may already have your own websites set up. If you're in that situation, then we still recommend that you set up the Adobe portfolio just so you learn the skills of that particular program, but we can work with you to make sure that your content goes onto your own website as well if you want to do that. So that's the assignment structure. And again, just letting you know if there's any questions. Thank you, Calvin. That's very sweet. If there's any questions that you want to put in to the chat as I'm going along, any questions that you've got right now, feel free to put them in as we're going along. Okay, let's keep going here. What time are the classes? You should know what time all these classes are on. The lecture, of course, each week. Come back here, wherever you're watching. Well, you might be on campus, you might be at home, you might be on the train, you might be in your car. Don't do that if you're driving. Come on. Then you see all these tutorials. We have a big group this semester, which is fantastic. All the tutorials are in the same room, AS405, across the day Wednesday and across the day on Thursday. Now, one of the things that you'll notice at the bottom of that screen, there's no moving between tutorials. And the reason for that is because some of these tutorial times, in fact, a lot of these tutorial times are full. In AS405, we only have 24 seats. We can't have more than 25 students or 24 students in the classroom at the one time. It's an occupational health and safety issue, and there's not enough chairs. Simple as that. So if you want to move between tutorials, it can only be on the basis that the tutorial you're moving to actually has space. If you turn up and you're not registered in that tutorial that you turn up to, your tutor may say, I'm sorry, we don't have any room. You'll need to go to another tutorial. Now, you should be able to check online via the app or via your My Swinburne account, My Student account, and get in and see where there might be some gaps. There aren't many, I'll be honest with you. There's not many there, but it is hard to sort of change around. If you've got really, and they need to be really extenuating circumstances, a really, really good reason, not just I can't be bothered getting out of bed at 8:30. Hey, guess what? I can't be bothered getting out of bed at 8:30, but I'm here for those classes too. Then get in touch with Denby as the unit convener, and her details are on the front page of the Canvas site, and we might be able to see what we can do, but there are no guarantees on that. So please, please, please come to the tutorial that you've been assigned, and actually make sure you turn up to that in week 1 at least, and then we can see what we can do. But if there's 24 in the class and those 24 have registered and they've got themselves organized, then they will be the ones that will get the preference over you. A little handy tip, just if you want to know how to get through all of this and go, how do I get the timetable that I want? Well, the timetable actually gets released at the end of the year for the next year. So if you want to sort of plan ahead, there's usually an email that comes out. Sometimes it's November, sometimes it's early December, where it has the whole timetable set up, where you can actually enroll in all your units across the year, and you can decide what times you get. And I tell you, if you do that, you know, that sort of thing is really helpful, because if you know you've got a commitment at a certain time of the week that's not changing throughout the next year, you can then work around that to see whether you can lock yourself in. If you wait until the week before, a lot of those times are going to go. It's kind of first in with this. So for next year, as you finish your classes this year, keep an eye on your email, because the university will send out an email saying you can actually start enrolling, the timetable's out, it's ready to go. And it just gives you that peace of mind, I think, is the main thing here. Right, pausing for questions. Ashley, if we can't join the live stream on time for whatever reason, will the lectures be recorded and uploaded? Yes, they absolutely will if you want to re-watch them. Usually that'll be in real time. I'll put these slides up as well, so you can have a copy of those if you want them to. But it should be a pretty straightaway process of just going back into the replay and the replay firing up. But I'll be keeping an eye on that, certainly for the first week, and then the weeks after that, you'll be able to go back to them. So, another question. If we have a compulsory commitment during our enrolled tutorial, are we able to, with permission of our tutors, go to a different tutorial that week? If it's a one-off and you can swing it with your tutor, yes. Again, it's based around, let me put the conditions apply, conditions apply, conditions apply. Yeah, it's a matter of if that tutorial is full and there are people that we've got 24, it's going to be difficult to get you in. You might have to go to one that's not as popular. So it might be an 8:30 sort of class, or a 2:30 or something like that. I don't have the list in front of me, but yeah, get in touch with your tutor in week 1 in the class that you're in and just go, okay, I've got this that might come up. What are my options here? And we'll see what we can do to work around that. But that's more the exception rather than the rule. So hopefully that sort of helps to clear that up. We do get that you will have things that will come up from time to time, but if you can try and hold to that lecture, the tutorial time, it just makes our life easier. And if you do move and it's all approved and ticked off and everything, please make sure you move in the system as well, because that helps us when we're doing our marking, because it tends to get a bit confusing as to who's where and everything like that. While I'm here, let's do some tech talk. So you won't need any textbooks for this unit. All of the resources will be available on Canvas, which is great. I mean, not that we're sort of moved out of textbook land anyway. Most of it's online. It'll be ebooks and stuff like that. You don't need any of those either. Now, the way that we're approaching this semester, it is BYO device. Bring your own device for the semester. However, what we mean by that is, if I've got my thing here, I'm talking about phones. We're not looking for you to buy thousands of dollars worth of equipment. We have that here. Now, if you've got a great camera or audio recorder or things like that, bring them in. More than happy for you to use that if you have them. You do not need to buy them. You do not need to have it. We're going to be delivering content and teaching it around phones, because that's the kind of great leveler. We all have phones. Mine's pretty up-to-date one. Yours will be pretty up-to-date. Some people may not have up-to-date ones, but that's okay, because in the media store, which you'll find out and get a little walk around when you have your tutorial, if you haven't seen it yet, you will have the opportunity to borrow an up-to-date phone and use that to complete your assignment. You'll see that in the picture there is the Rode Go kits. They are provided for you. We're going to give you sort of add-ons for your phone. So we know that you can take video, we know that you can take photos with your phone, you do it for social media, your TikToks and all of that sort of stuff. We know that. How do we do it professionally? Well, we're going to put some equipment in your hands to be able to do that and use the capabilities of the phone for that. The accessories, we will have them for you and we'll show you how to use them and really enhance what it is that you can already do in that particular area. Now again, if you've got your own cameras and equipment that you already you can use them. We're going to be teaching skills around phones in tutorials, just as a base level for everyone. But if you've got a camera or anything, feel free to bring it in, show your tutor, and they'll go, yeah, great, you can use that. But just know that we're going to be working at the base level there. Now, the only things that we do recommend that you buy for the unit, there's a couple of things. One, a hard drive to store your work. 250 gig should cover it. There are varying prices for that. The reason why we ask you to get a hard drive, and it's one that you obviously you can use for this unit, but you can also use it throughout your time here at Swinburne. I know there's cloud-based sort of stuff like OneDrive and things like that. And it's great to be able to back up your work there. But when we're talking about large files, like large video files, you want basically a solid state storage area to be able to store it and to back up your work and know that it's going to be reliable each and every time. So that's why we recommend that you get a hard drive. Now, on the Canvas site, in the first kind of, in the modules page, in the first section, we talk in detail about that and give you, a guide to it. The same with a set of headphones as well. Bringing headphones to class is important. You need to be able to hear what's going on, particularly when you're working with the Rode Go's. If you've got a corded set of headphones, fantastic. If you don't and you've got AirPods and things like that, the first couple of weeks we'll be setting all of that up. So what we'll be doing is testing. We'll be checking that the equipment works, that it works with your phone, that you can hear. All of that sort of stuff is what we're kind of going for here. But bringing a set of headphones, and a hard drive. They're the only things that you need for this unit. And then, of course, you can use all that sort of stuff across the excuse me, you can use those things for the rest of your time here at Swinburne. With the headphones, don't spend hundreds of dollars. You probably will already have a set of headphones. Even if, now let me see if I can bring them over here, you've got a pair of sort of, you know, crappy Apple ones like this, then that's fine as well. You know, we're going to be using that. We can get adapters for them too. That's going to be okay. You just need to be able to hear the audio. We're not looking for the top of the line stuff. They're the only two things. SSD rather than hard drive, that's up to you. Again, it's what you're going to be using it for outside of the unit. Calvin, if that's the way that you want to go, it's just a way for you to be able to plug it in and be able to extract all the data and at least back it up along the way. Any store recommend for buying the hard drive? A place called Officeworks, if you're familiar with that. Harvey Norman, there's lots of different places. JB Hi-Fi, just shop around, find the best deal. Amazon will probably have them as well. Yes, we recommend that the sort of, you know, hard drives are the best ones. There is, as I say, on Canvas, if you cruise around to the modules page and you have a look there, you'll be able to find a little guide that we've put together just to explain, you know, what they are and how to go about it. If you're kind of lost on it, you can't find it, let your tutor know, but they'll be able to point you in the right direction. You don't need it for week number 1, but you will need it for sort of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then throughout the rest of the semester. Wireless headphones that you can attach a wire to, yes, that's fine. Yep, no problem with that one particularly there. Alrighty. What else have we got here? Yes, let's actually talk about what we're actually doing here. We're storytelling, and it's great. The heart of this unit is about the concept of a story. You are going to be storytellers and non-fiction storytellers. Everyone has a story. If I was in the room, I'd get you to talk about what you did during the break and tell me a story about what happened. There's 4 elements, key elements to what we've got here. One that you'll hear me banging on about if you do have me for any other units, both undergrad and postgrad across your time at Swinburne, you will hear me talk about audience a lot. You'll hear me talk about context, logic, and structure, but audience is one of the big ones there. And it's a really important element to anything that you're doing, anything that you create, any media product you create. Who is it that you're talking to? Who is it that you're communicating with? Who are you looking to reach? These are all important questions. And the answer can't be everyone, because you won't produce content that will necessarily have a mass appeal. Yes, it could reach a broad audience. There's no issue with that. But who are you trying to actually reach here? And it will be a group of people. So if we think about podcasting, for example, they can have a really narrow audience. So for example, this video that I'm making now, there's about 170 odd students here. If I can get to 170 students, that's a success. You're the audience. You're the students who are undertaking this unit. So I know exactly who I'm talking to here. Or it could be reaching millions of people around the world. But the main thing is, who am I actually talking to here? And then all the decisions that you make in your production will be based around that audience. The way that you present the content, the way that you speak, the way that the way that you cut shots together in video, for example. Context is important. They need to know what's going on. Once you've got the audience, what's the context of what we're doing here? A logic, it's got to make sense. So I know there are some, if you're doing cinema and screen, you probably talk about some of those directors and the way that they put films together and think, gosh, that doesn't make sense. But boy, it's compelling. We need to have that logic and then a structure to it as well. And we'll unpack this as we go along throughout the semester. And I think it's important, but they're the 4 kind of main elements here. And we'll unpack them as the semester goes along. The other thing that we're going to be unpacking here is this idea of audio and sound. Now, we don't have a lot of time to be able to go in depth with all of this. A lot of these things that I'm going to be talking about could be sort of classes on their own, 3 hours, 5 hours. I could talk on and on and on about it. But there are so many different uses for audio across media and obviously beyond as well. Audio on its own is such a powerful tool. We don't really necessarily sort of go through and actually think about that too much. We sort of live in this world where, if you're like me, you've got the headphones in and you're walking around and you'll be wearing your headphones or your earbuds or something like that to a podcast or music or whatever it is. How often do you actually take the opportunity to just listen to what's around you? And what we mean by that is more this idea of active listening. How active are you when you are listening to what's going on around you? Noticing the different sounds. A lot of them we don't actually sort of think about. We don't give it a sort of second thought. But give yourself an opportunity to do that. If you're walking around, let's say you're walking around campus, rather than sticking your earbuds in and listening to music and blasting your ears with that, take the opportunity just to, even just sitting, whether it's the atrium or the late lab or wherever you might be, listen to the noises that are going on. What sounds are out there in our soundscape? If you're right outside Glenferrie Station, what are the sounds? What are the noises that you're going to hear? We have a tremendous power here. And of course, the audio that's captured, if it's recorded well, it really adds to the overall production. If you do it well, you record it well, you present it well, it will resonate with your audience. And that's one of the really important things here. So if you're making video content, whether it's for social media, whether it's going to be on a big screen, the audio is still an important element of it. But take the video away, and let me tell you, the production is a hell of a lot easier and a lot quicker. You can create images in people's minds. You can set up things that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to set up if you were producing a video of the same things. It's extraordinary power that you have with audio. And what we want you to do here is try and explore that as much as possible. And when we think about the different uses for voiceover, so normally I'd go around the room and get people to sort of think of it. And voiceover is one of those important things that, we know it's there, but we don't necessarily think about the mechanics of how that comes together. So if you've been on hold, if you ring Swinburne, for example, and they put you on hold, your call is important to us. Or the train announcements. The next train, and of course it's all automated, so sometimes it doesn't quite fit. The next train to arrive on platform 2 is the 3:45 service to Lilydale, stopping all stations except East Richmond. So they've said all the words and the computer's kind of putting it all together. But that's an example of voiceover. Character voices, obviously, if you're sort of involved with games or animation and you want to bring your characters to life, well, voiceover is really important for that as well. There's so many different uses for podcast announcing, radio announcing, all of these things. There's a lot of audio that's out there and a lot of voiceover that happens too. And this could be something that you might turn into a career, a side hustle, something like that. We'll tease out and we'll explore some of the possibilities that you can have if you use sound, and also using your voice as well and learning how to use it effectively. Now, there are two places to capture audio. One is the studio environment, controlled environment. We've got fixed equipment. We've got sound dampening. So if you come and visit the Swin Radio studio, which is upstairs from where I am now, you can see that controlled environment. We've got, acoustic paneling on the walls. We can shut the door. The sound, it sounds great. It's designed for that. That's what it's there for. So we know that if we walk into a studio, if it's set up properly, that we can get the best possible sound because we haven't got the outside elements coming in. Or we can capture audio out in the field. And we want to be there. So we want to take the listener to wherever it is that you are. Where do you want to take them? Now, of course, there's Right. Welcome back. Well done, Ed Jerome, for coming through for me again. Anyway, we are back now, so feel free to jump back in or tell people that we're jumping back in. I'm going to continue on pushing through, and hopefully that won't look as crazy on the replay, but that'll be funny. Yes, so here is the recording devices that we've had, and I was talking wonderfully about them all. You should have seen all the things that I was saying. It was so profound, but you didn't hear any of it. So you get the idea. Hopefully people will pick up the replay and listen to the rest of this. We are running out of time, so I'm going to have to push through pretty quickly from here. But wire recorders went to tape. You know, apparently cassettes are coming back. I don't know why. Please don't get cassettes. It's not great quality. It's awful. Thank you for saying welcome back, everyone. We moved on from that. You can see how bulky those are. They are heavy machinery. We don't need that anymore, because if you look down at the bottom right corner, you'll see the Zoom H5. We don't need moving parts. We can use our phones to record decent quality audio these days. We have come a long way, is kind of the point that I'm making here now that I'm back on the air. Microphones are really important as well. They are the connection that we have between you and the audience. So this ability for us to be able to produce high quality productions starts with a decent microphone. And it's really important that you find the right microphone for what you actually need. Now, here I am. Hello, everyone. I'm back. It is an instrument that is used for converting sound waves into electrical energy variations, which can be amplified, transmitted, or recorded. You know that. You know what microphones do. Now, it's interesting because microphone technology really hasn't changed over the years. There's been so many different types of microphones that are out there. They work in a similar way. The technology works in a similar way. There are fundamental differences, though, between some microphones. Now, what you need to know is just which ones are going to be suitable for your production and that what you're going to need. So, you know, when you're talking on the phone and you've got your earbuds in, that's a microphone that you're using. When you talk just into the phone itself, which, you know, who does that these days? You know, that's a microphone too. Then we've got the higher quality microphones that you find in studios. You'll notice that I've got the microphones, the different coloured ones in the picture there, and you'll notice that I've actually got them crossed out. There's a good reason for that, because they're inflatable microphones. I probably wouldn't use those because they don't produce any sound. They might look good, but you don't need to hit people over the head with because they're nice and soft, but they won't actually produce any sound. This works better when I'm in a large lecture theatre and I can hear the laughs coming through, but you get the idea. There are two types of microphones. I'm going to whip through this and then I'm going to come back to it next week, so don't worry too much if you haven't... yes, you can. I'm sure you can buy whatever you like online. Temu's probably got 50 million of them. Dynamic and condenser. There are going to be two types of microphones that you're going to be using. You're going to be using dynamic microphones. I'm going to talk about that in more detail next week, but there's a difference, the fundamental difference between the two of them. The condenser mic is a lot more sensitive than what the dynamic is. Dynamic, you can throw it around, relatively speaking. Please don't throw mics. When your mic drop, don't drop the mic. Come on. It doesn't require that external power. It's generally more robust. The dynamic microphone is what you're going to be using. I'll come back to that next week. The tips for quality recording, though, you're going to be going out this week and recording and practicing with the Rode Goes. But the key things, the fundamental things, levels. You'll see on that screen that horribly distorted and blurred picture of a VU meter. As you can tell, my skills in Photoshop, etc. are not great. That's why I do audio. You'll see that you've got the green and you've got the yellow, you've got the red. If you get to the red, as your levels, because this is as you're producing sound, it goes backwards and forwards. You'll see the thing that's called clip at the end. If you go to all the way up to the top and it's in the red and it goes beyond that 0 marker into that clip section, that will be sounding distorted. You will create distortion, and we don't want that. So make sure you set the right recording level. Where's the right recording level? I hear you ask through the screen. We're looking at that -20 between the green and the yellow. It doesn't have to be exactly on there, but just around that marker. Why? Because it will allow for you to laugh or get loud or a noise to happen, and it won't blow your levels out. Again, we'll talk more about this next week and follow up on it, but just beware, levels. When you are producing this sort of stuff and when you are going out and about this week in your tutorials. Correct mic technique is really important too, to make sure that we're holding the mic in the right spot. How far away do I need to be? All of that sort of stuff will be covered in tutorials. And next week, we'll talk a bit more about, mic technique and things like that and give you some tips. So assignment 1 will be producing a 2-minute 30 interview package with sound effects. There's a theme that we've given you. It's a place that moves me. And this is something that you really want to sort of think about now. A place that moves me. Not you, the student, making the production, the person that you're going to be speaking to. You can interview anyone you like. What is a place that moves them? It might be the beach. It might be in the forest. It might be the airport. Might be the train station. Moves me? Get it? It's wasted on you. You can interview anyone you like as long as they're not doing this unit. Okay? Anyone you want. Family member, friend, doesn't matter. We're generally looking for 4 questions and answers. You'll record some sound effects to go with it because we want to take our listener to the scene. That'll be recorded by you as well. Record your own sound effects. An intro at the start, 20 seconds max to sort of set the context, put a bit of copyright-free music on the front of it, and you'll use the Rode Go kits for the interview. You can use your phone to record the sound effects. So I'm sort of rattling through this because I know we're fast running out of time, but you can go in and use your phones to record your sound effects, but the Rode Go kits you're going to be learning in the tutorials this week, you'll record the interview using that. Now, either the system itself or plugged into your phone. Either way, you're going to learn how to do it. But think about who you might like to speak to. What is a place that moves them? And the key tip, before you all disappear and scatter in different directions, find someone that has a really good place that moves them, that lends themselves to lots of different sounds. If someone says the office is a place that moves them, you probably want to move on because it's not going to be an exciting interview. But if they say the beach, then you think about all the different sound effects you could use. So the main thing here is that you have that place that moves them. Don't just go to the obvious. Oh, that's the go-to. But I'll ask my friend who's sitting next to me right now. If they haven't got a good story to tell and there's not a lot of sounds that attach themselves to that place that moves them, then move on to someone else. Get someone that has a really good place with lots of different sound effects so you can take the audience there. That's the key to this assignment. I'll rattle through that again next week and you'll be talking about it a bit in your tutorials as well. So this week in your tutorials, practicing with the Rode Go kits, you'll be learning how to use the media store if you haven't used it before. You'll be doing a bit of induction stuff to learn how that works and making sure that you can actually borrow. Make sure you've got your student cards with you so you can do some borrowing. You'll get started with assignment 1, thinking about who you're going to interview. Just a reminder about the first quiz, which is available now, of course, and setting up your portfolio. Get onto that really, really early. I would suggest please do that because then you get it out the way and it's done. You will need to have it ready by the time this audio assignment is due because you will present it on your portfolio as well as submitting it to Canvas. Right, there is so much happening there. I'm sure you have lots of questions. You can email me. We can pick it up again next week. You can ask in your tutorials. We can have meetings. I'll put some times up and things like that throughout the week as well. But that's the first lecture done and dusted. And I've had to rattle through things very quickly, but I will make sure that, I will go over some of the things that I've sort of rattled through at the back end next week. But start thinking about that first assignment. Start thinking about who you might interview. Maybe get them organized for a couple of weeks' time once you get the hang of the equipment. But think about the key thing. Whoever you speak to, make sure the place that moves them, and it's a very broad topic, so you can take in lots of different directions, is someone that has a place that moves them, that has lots of different sounds and sound effects that you can incorporate. Trust me, it'll make your life a hell of a lot easier. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the tutorials this week, and I'll see you back here next week for the next of our live lectures along the way. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.